Lillian sat on her pink chair in front of her father as he suddenly hummed and brushed her blonde hair. Lillian's father is the man that wakes her up each morning, feeds her, takes care of her. However, he isn't her father, and she's his daughter. Lillian adjusted her tank top and sighed. "What's wrong, dear?" the man said in a sweet tone.
Nothing's wrong. I just don't feel too well.
The man stopped brushing her hair and turned to her chair to face him. He put the backside of his hand on her forehead and frowned with concern. "You're a bit warm, but hopefully nothing to worry about." Lillian disliked the word nothing. It reminded her of what she had, which was nothing. This man had kidnapped her from her family and made her life absolutely miserable. The reason why he took her is unknown, as Lillian knows that this man thinks and believes that she's his daughter. Lillian's theory is that he somehow lost his daughter in a freak accident, but knowing how this man treated her led Lillian to believe that he could have her. Being next to him made her throat clamp up and feel like she was suffocating. She couldn't scream or cry. She couldn't run and she couldn't hide. Lillian had nothing. The weight of being powerless and helpless engulfed her entire being. Lillian hated being called that horrendous name he gave her, Mallory. The name made her feel even more trapped in this horrible situation. Personally, Lillian loved her name. Not many people had a name like hers, and it made her feel special. But being called Mallory left a terrible taste in her mouth and a pit in the bottom of her stomach. Smiling happily, the man tapped her shoulder and she stood up. He pointed to the mirror. "You look so pretty, don't you think so?" Lillian turned to look at the mirror next to her and forced a smile. The man rested his hands on her shoulders and lightly squeezed them for a response. Lillian nodded.
Yes, it looks very nice. Thank you.
"Thank you." The man squeezed her shoulders once more and held her with a tight clench.
Thank you, Father.
"That's more like it." Lillian and her father had a strict routine that they followed every day. Wake up, eat, homeschool, lunch, TV, play, dinner, bath, and bed. For as long as she can remember, they followed the same routine. Currently, her time was between play and dinner, because it made her the safest and most secure. The man took Lillian's hand and walked her into the dining room where the food was laid out on the table. "It's your favorite. I made Cornish hens, mashed potatoes, and cake for dessert." Lillian knew this was not her favorite food, but she also knew something bad would happen if she didn't say it was. But she again forced a smile and nodded. Her father pulled out a chair for her and set her down, and he excitedly clapped his hands and smiled. "You wait here. I have something for you." Lillian's eyes widened as she feared for the worst.
What is it? What do you have for me?
"Not now, silly girl. You'll see," he said, walking out of the dining room. Panicked, Lillian quickly darted under the table, seeking some sign of safety from what the man would do. She held her knees close to her head. Her knuckles turned a bright white as she gripped her legs, preparing herself for what was coming. Her seconds turned into hours as she sat curled in the fetal position. She could only hope the worst wouldn't come. Horrific thoughts flooded her head as she sat under the table. All she wanted was for this nightmare to end. But this isn't the way she wanted it to end. After what felt like hours, she heard the man call out, "Mallory," he said sweetly. Lillian didn't answer. "Mallory," he repeated. Lillian crawled out from under the table and looked at him with pure fear in her eyes. The man raised one of his eyebrows. "Yes, it is. You're my Mallory." He stood out in front of her and intimidatingly towered over her small figure. The man raised his voice. "Your name is Mallory."
No, my name is Lillian.
"Lillian isn't my daughter's name. My daughter's name is Mallory. You are Mallory."
No, I'm not Mallory. My name is Lillian.
The man violently jerked Lillian up by her arms and made eye contact with her. The man held her close to his face and his dark brown eyes pierced her soul. Sternly, he repeated, You are Mallory, are you not? Fearful, Lillian quickly nodded.
Yes, I'm Mallory.
You're my daughter. You are Mallory, he repeated. With tears coming to Lillian's eyes, she responded.
Yes, I'm Mallory. I'm your daughter.
Finally satisfied, her father knelt down in front of her and held her close to him in a tight hug. You're my Mallory, he said in a soft, cracked voice. With tears running down her cheek, Lillian agreed with her father once again. As he held her in his arms, she questioned how she got into this situation. She beat herself up every day for trusting him. She regretted her decisions, and she wondered what would happen if she had made different choices. All I want is for another chance to be a good father. I wasn't there for Mallory, but I can be there for you. You're my second chance. Lillian still didn't respond. She was too shaken up from the previous encounter to formulate a valid answer. As a last resort to get her to respond, the man pulled a golden necklace with a heart-shaped locket out of his pocket. He then opened the locket to reveal a picture of him and a girl who was identical to Lillian. Look, he said as he tapped the picture inside the locket. It's us. You have her blonde hair, her beautifully chiseled nose, and her sweet voice. You're even the same height. You're my Mallory. As much as she hated to admit it, she did look exactly like her. Lillian didn't want to feel sympathy for this man, but she couldn't help it. This man's mind had rotted into mush after losing his daughter. How couldn't she feel sympathy for him? The debate in her mind started about whether or not she could feel for him. She remembered how the man was before and how his current attitude constantly changed. It was like flicking a light switch. She thought about what started this, how he lured her in with promises of sweet candy, and how she innocently got into his car. A few moments ago, he jerked her around like a piece of furniture. Now they lay on the dining room floor with her cradled in his arms. You know, today is your birthday. I thought you'd remember. I made your cake and I got you your locket. Lillian's hopefulness settled in as she lay there in his arms. The only choices she had were to either agree with the psychotic man or to be badly hurt defying him. In this situation, she couldn't choose the latter because she highly feared the other option. All Lillian can do was wish someone would come to her rescue, someone like a prince or a knight in shining armor. She knew it would never happen, but it was reassuring to have a solid, hopeful thought.